Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Yes.
Felt that.
The earthquake. Welcome everyone on Tuesday, the 1st of August, 2023 to the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting. Thank you everyone for coming, for Jackie, Chris, and Nina. We've had apologies from Adam and Ryan who are unable to attend today. I just want to quickly acknowledge Stacey, who was a member of the committee. She has decided to step away, and just wanted to make a formal thank you to her and her contribution to the committee for the time she was here, and sad to see her go, obviously. And so now, people out there watching, we would appreciate and love to hear from you if you want to join and become part of this committee. Be really appreciative. But in the meantime, I want to officially say thank you to Stacey and her time. So yeah. Okay. So we decided to postpone our July meeting because people were traveling and away and enjoying the summer. Not that the summer's over yet, but anyway. So our last meeting was in June on the 5th, and just want to see if anyone's got any amendments or changes to the minutes of that day's meeting, and whether we can move for it to be approved. Have any?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. All right. Minutes approved from the 5th of June. Thank you. All right. We have in person Stephanie Marshall, who's going to talk about the opt-up for the renewable content, for more renewable content on the Exeter Power, Community Power. So, Stephanie, if you want to take it away, appreciate.
Thank you. So I'm part of the Community Power Aggregation Committee. Our charge technically ends at the end of December of this year. And the stage that we're at is we have the enrollment, which started in May for Community Power program. And so I have some information about how that's gone. And one of our goals is to get more people to opt up to a higher renewable energy mix in the electricity that they are purchasing. And we thought you would be interested in this information.
Thank you.
And we have some opportunities if you'd like to help with getting some of that information out. But just to review this is... if you see, the total customers who were enrolled in the town is almost 7,000. That's that top number. People who could not be enrolled are people who have existing third-party contracts with other electricity things, people who are on net metering with their solar panels, or some of the larger commercial ones. But that's a really solid number. If you look down the column, you see that most people just stayed at the level, the 23.4% renewable, which is the basic, which is the default, that the same level that Unitil is at. And then people can opt up to 33% renewable, or 50 or 100. And we had just a few people doing that, so that totally just about 87 people opted up, or just about 1%. We're not surprised by that. That's been the history with a lot of other community power programs, especially when they just are getting started, that a lot of people don't look at their electricity bills. They're just trying to get understanding how the whole program works. So what we'd like to do now is really move forward and work on getting the opt-up people numbers increased. And I think a lot of people were waiting for what the new rates would be, because the rates that came in May were only good until the end of July. It was a 3-month rate. And as you may have, if you track this at all, the Unitil rates and all the other utilities were up to about over 25 cents a kilowatt hour. They have since come down, and we knew that was going to happen, so that currently, as of August 1st, as of today, they're at 13.2 cents per kilowatt hour. If you look at what the rates are for community power, the basic one, which is where most people are in, is still much lower. It's at 11 cents per kilowatt hour. And then the Granite Plus, which is 33%, is about 11, and then 12.3 for the 50. And you can get 100% renewable energy for 15.2 cents per kilowatt hour. One of the things to look at is when this first came out in May, the rate for 100% renewable was 15.8 cents a kilowatt hour. So you can opt up, not for the 100, just the basic rate was 15.8 cents. So if people were able to afford their electric bills from May until the end of July, they can, for the same amount of money, get to 100% renewable. So that's what we're really looking at, is we think this is a town where people are interested in it. The small businesses are part of this. It's really a matter of doing education and trying to get people to be aware of it, to know how easy it is to do. I've had some friends who say, look, I want to do it, but I have no idea where to begin. Mm-hmm. And it's extremely simple. You can either do it on the web or you can do it with a phone call. So it's very easy to do. So let's go to the next one, Kristen. So some of the ideas that we came up with at our last meeting, we're looking for visibility options, both to provide information on the community power program. Again, a lot of people just said, I don't really understand it, and I'm not going to opt out of it. So at the town vote, we're going to have a table there. We're going to have a copy of an electric bill so that people can learn how to read it and where you actually look. A laptop to show people how you can opt up online. You do have to have your account number, so we can't actually do it there, but we can show them how easy it is. And then a handout with the rates and the instructions for how to opt up. We've considered doing some tabling at the farmers markets, which, Kristen, you said they've offered to have us have a table without extra charges to do that. We're looking into the possibility of doing a mailing to all the community power customers and potentially everyone in town. What we don't know is how much access we have to addresses. They could be proprietary, and we have to look at that and look at the cost of that. And we're working with the Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire to get that information. And then to have social media presence all the time on the website, the Exeter Report, the Facebook pages, that it's a great time to do this, in part because we're now locked in for 6 months, the rates are, and certainly with people's experience with all the impact of climate change over this summer, is to say to people, look, if you want to do something to help combat what's happening, this is a very simple thing you can do, and people can afford to do it. So we're looking for some ideas, if you have other ideas for doing that. And we'd also like to, as an opportunity, to see if any of you might like to join us to do some of these, to learn about how the opt-up works. Because when we go out of existence at the end of December, it would be really nice to have this be an ongoing effort. Every 6 months when the rates change, it would be really good to let people know that, to help people opt up. Because I think the whole opt-up option is really a long-term project. I would say 5 years it's going to take for people to kind of understand it. So any questions about what the data shows, or these? Or?
Yeah, a few, if it's all right. I guess a higher level question would be, in all of your planning to get us to this point, with the data and knowledge that you have, is there a point where we feel the 100% or 50% starts to draw closer to the Unitil rate overall, or we just think it just comes down to how much renewable is online and phasing out of fossil fuels and things like that. So it's sort of an unknowable, I guess.
I'm not the technical end of it. My understanding is that the coalition is confident that they can have at least the 33 and 50% lower than what the Unitil default rate is at the 23%. When you get up to the 100% renewable, they're not confident they can find ways to negotiate that. But to get to the 50%, that's been the history. It is a volatile market a bit, but I think they're really confident that people could get to the 50% easily and be very comfortable staying there and be lower than what the Unitil default rate is.
Interesting.
So
my second question, it certainly anybody who's net metering right now is has a very high likelihood of being a fan of this. And so it's super frustrating for some of us that are net metering not to be able to participate. Knowing what you know, again, when do you see that as becoming a possibility?
You can participate. You can sign up to do it. The problem is you will not get the same benefit necessarily as you get from staying with Unitil. The problem has been data access from Unitil, Eversource, and Liberty. They're saying they cannot provide the data necessary for those customers. We've had some communication with Unitil. Exeter is the only town or county that's with Unitil. Everybody else is with Eversource. And we've had a very cooperative relationship with Unitil. They sent us a message saying there's one piece of the data access that they feel they can get to fairly soon. There's another component of accessing the data that will cost a lot of money to do, and that they're working with the PUC and other people to do it. We're still pushing it. We're still trying to get to it. We're going to come out with, because it is the net metering issue is very complicated depending on when you had your solar panels in, and it's 1.0 or 2.0 and this. We are trying to come up with a simplified flow chart that shows if this and that, then when does it make sense? And it's very much based on if you use more than you produce, that's one formula. And if you produce more than you use, then that would be another option. So that's in the works, and we will get more information out to people. We'd like to have it by the 15th. I'm not sure. We have one now that, I'm a net metering customer too, and I looked at it and I said, I can't follow this. So, but you're right, because those are the folks who are totally invested in it. So, it will be there, at least to know what's your choice in terms of when it's going to make sense financially for you to do it.
Just know where that tipping point is, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's a brilliant program, and I think from an economic perspective and a social perspective, it sort of underscores the difficulty for people that want to do the right thing and having to be able to afford to do the right thing. I think everybody loves to drive a Tesla, but we can't. And I'm so eager to have that. But one of the points you made that was really, really strong is that you feel that 33 or 50% will nearly always, to the best of your ability, be at or below what Unitil has on offer. That's a great argument. That's a great argument right there alone. So.
And the other thing is you're not committed. You're not committed to a certain time frame. So you could opt up to 100% now, watch the rates, and in 6 months change your mind. In 3, you don't even need to wait for the 6-month mark. At any time you can change your mind.
So that's a very good point too.
I think the issue is a lot of people barely pay attention to their electric bill anyway. But I think part of this is getting people savvy about your electricity and about the transmission costs versus the supply and all of that. So,
and I think that's a really strong message. Not everyone has the capability to put solar panels on their roof or to purchase an electric vehicle. So, but this is something that everyone who is a customer has the ability to do.
I think the biggest hurdle must be just people not understanding how to opt up or opt in, or assuming that it would maybe just automatically happen on their electricity bill. Or, so I think some of the easy ideas
Nina's going to get yelled
for
at.
other ideas might be even having at the farmer's market or at the, the special town vote, have an email sign-up page or a sheet that asks people for their email addresses, so then you can communicate, and then they can easily pass on the information to neighbors and friends, and even utilizing a QR code. You can create a quick
Right.
QR code and, have people automatically go to the website or wherever they need to go.
That's what we're really trying to, there's a handout we've designed to give people just instructions. We can't communicate directly with people ourselves to give information. We just don't have that capacity to have our own email. And Kristen might like to get emails from everybody, but we just don't have, so it's really just pushing out information at very public things. We should have been here tonight, actually, at the where everybody is there, but it's looking for opportunities.
But maybe there's an opportunity in the hybrid of what Nina was just saying, and maybe Kristen, we could look into this to find out what we're allowed to do on our town website, and to take the information sheet, the one sheet that you have, and make that digital, and have you guys out there with the QR code, just to be able to have that in public space so people can go right to that
Right
spot
there.
on the website, because it is a benefit to all the voters for sure, all the residents for sure. So,
And we are working on some sort of advertising, visuals for Facebook and for the website, and we'll connect with Exeter TV and others. So I think that there's definitely some ideas that we can do. It's just it's going to be an ongoing. It's not a one and done.
not a one and done, yeah, for sure.
So
Because the basic level, that was an automatic. You were automatic in it, but then if you wanted to opt out, you had to physically opt out.
Right.
So that was the case in point, wasn't
Right.
it? So
I always come back to this, when we talked about this in the communications committee, is that, every resident gets if you're on town water and sewer, which is most people, you get a bill. I'd love to be able to put some information inside that bill that's going to go out to them, because you probably have electricity if you've got running water, just to be able to communicate to our residents that way as well.
Yeah.
It's already mail piece that's going out. You're going to look at it because you're going to go, wow, and I'd love to have that piece of paper right in there that explains this, or at least, again, a QR code on the bottom of that to go right to the spot on the website.
So would any of you be interested in helping us out with some of this?
I could help,
Interested and available, or?
yeah, I mean, if you've got a couple of dates, if you want to share for the farmers market, I can come along.
Okay.
And yeah.
That would be great. I know they're work days for people who are employed, not retired, the way those of us who hang out are.
but even if it's just coverage for the peak time.
Right, even for a noon time, if someone has that, or before the vote. And one of us who've done this for a little while would be there and just give you some information to be conversed, so you can be conversant about it in terms of the technical issues and how to say, well, I may not have that information, but I can get it to you if that's what it is. But
I mean, you mentioned like the Exeter report and the Facebook. I mean, we're happy to push it out on our social stuff and also the sort of groups that exist. What about the Exeter newsletter, the newspaper? Have you?
we've done some op-eds and some letters to the editor.
Okay.
Because
I know they've got a new reporter, haven't they? A new journalist for Exeter. They were reaching out on the forum for people to get in touch with them for.
I missed that.
Yeah. So
right.
So they're obviously looking for stories,
Right.
or what's going on.
Right, I saw that as well. So,
Yeah.
and we're going to be, sharing on Facebook pages our own, and then pushing those out as well. So, and if you get it, Kristen, you would send it to them, and you could share it from your own. That would be wonderful. So
Do that.
One last question I had. You mentioned that your organization's charge expires in December. Then what happens with information dissemination or the spirit of this organization? What happens next? Nothing?
I'm not sure. That's what we have to look at. It could go to the Energy Committee is one place. I think that the coalition has kind of said we needed to stay, and the town we needed to get this up and running and all of that, and which has been accomplished. It could go to the Energy Committee if this was something you'd be interested in just with the communication piece of it. It could be something for you all to have as part of your portfolio of things. We're not going to let it just sit around.
Okay, good.
But we don't have anything formal in terms of votes and select board things to have to do with that. So is that right? Is that?
Okay.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, happy to help.
Yeah, great.
The committee in any way we
Wonderful.
can.
Yeah.
In getting more people involved.
Good, wonderful. So,
Sign up.
so I can be in touch with you,
Yeah.
and thank you for what all you are doing too. So we're all in this together, huh?
Thank you,
So-
Stephanie, for coming. Thank you very much. It's always the case, isn't it? Awareness.
Just a pure
Always,
awareness.
it's
Yep.
Total awareness. And
Agreed.
Getting people to understand the benefits and so on. Okay, then, well, that was good. I think before we move on, if anyone can remember the June meeting, we were looking at who we're having, what positions, and Jackie kindly stayed as taking the minute maker, note taker, or secretary of the committee, and Chris, you weren't here.
I luckily wasn't here.
Yeah. So we staved off on the chair and the vice chair positions. So, and I know, having spoken to the other members of this committee, Ryan and Adam, no one else is willing to take on any of the roles. So one suggestion is, how would the committee feel on having a rolling chair?
I think it's a great idea.
What would that look like? What would that?
So we would have a different, everyone would have the chance to take a seat at the table, as a rolling chair.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
be more part of it as opposed to,
Yeah. I think that.
Does that work?
Yeah.
I think we have to come up with some sort of schedule and also what does that entail as far as follow-up for the next meeting that you're not the chair? We'll come, but I'm sure there's some way to make a simple rule book for this. But I like that idea very, very much. I also think it might surface our
New leaders.
some new leaders, yeah.
So just sort of thinking on the fly, so if the vice chair was a rolling chair as well, so if you did a roster that whoever was a vice chair the month before would take the chair, and then it would sort of roll off like that. So everyone would be a vice chair, become a chair, and then
Go back to the line again. Yeah, I like it.
do you like that?
I like that.
And then we just have to clearly identify what it means to be that chair for that.
For that time.
Yeah.
Put the agenda together and
So should we sketch that out and hope to have all members vote on that next meeting? Or we have a quorum, we can vote on it this meeting as well? Do you think it's fair to get feedback from the other members, or do you think they're, given their past feedback?
Yeah, given they're not here, and this is a good solution in my mind, to have that, and it'd be nice, for me to sit on the sidelines.
We certainly understand the motivation.
We've done it for.
But I think it'd be good. It'd be good for the committee, and also, I think it'd be a good way of getting people to be vice chair, and then just roll it through and give everyone a bit of.
Okay, so let's try to craft a motion then for this. I'd like to make a motion to institute a rotating chairperson and vice chairperson for each Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting, whereas first you'd be the vice chair, the next month you'd be the chair, and then go back to the beginning again.
Yeah. Does that work?
Absolutely.
And the only,
Flip.
what's that?
Nothing, I just was trying to keep up with you.
I tried to speak slowly.
That's what the video's for.
Yes, yeah, certainly subject to some written rules and instructions. Could I get a second?
I'll second that.
You want to take a vote on that?
Yep. Nina? You vote yes?
All in
Oh,
favor?
yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. So, should we, in the hope that come September, I'm just trying to think, when would you like this to kick off? At the next meeting, at the...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so. Yeah, I think some of the things we have to sketch out are, for example, anytime the chair solicits comments from the members of the committee, we
say who was the chair at the time.
right, and then when's that switch? Is that switch at the bang of the gavel tonight, or is it before you bang the gavel the next time? When does the start? When does the stop? That's.
I think the start is when they come for the next meeting.
Okay, so at the opening of the next meeting.
Is the new chair.
And until that time, everything that happens or any business that's been done since this meeting until that time is done through the old chair.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Although, then, when you're serving chair, you're facilitating an agenda you didn't create. And if you're all fine with that, that's fine, but just to bring that up.
Or, in that case, then, up until the agenda's created and made public, up until then, so the incoming chair for that coming meeting,
Who would have been the vice chair
would do the agenda for their meeting.
in collaboration with the outgoing chair?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think that's a nice handover document.
Yeah. Does that work?
That's great.
Oh wait, listen.
Creation
Let Jackie catch
of
up.
the agenda for the next meeting? Okay, I think I got it. So the new chair starts when the agenda for the next meeting is created.
Correct.
In collaboration with the outgoing.
So they'll work on it together, and as soon as it's posted or becomes a live
Public.
document, public document, then
Then the new-
chair is in charge. And the chair.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
When does the agenda need to be completed by?
24 hours before the meeting, latest.
Well, the Friday before the meeting, ideally,
Friday.
so that we can get it posted. But as long as the chair and the vice chair collaborate on that agenda, I think it should be a pretty smooth transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, in the event that, so normally, like, if the chair could make it, the vice chair chairs, but what if, no, I guess it would be the same rules apply. No, that's fine.
The
Okay.
vice chair
Yep,
would
yep.
come sit in,
Yep.
because if I wasn't here, you would, and if I had produced the agenda, you would still.
I just execute your agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, makes sense. All right.
Good.
Well, we'll learn a lot on the next one.
Do you want me to make a schedule?
Yeah, then how do we decide, right, who's going to be who?
Yeah,
Do we put
volunteers,
names?
by the way, is what makes this whole thing work. Thank you.
Alphabetical.
Put myself last.
Alphabetical.
Alphabetical by height. No,
I will use a random number generator.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, make a schedule.
Alphabetical.
Okay, alphabetical,
By
yeah.
second name. Surname.
So next month,
Alphabetical
do you want to be the chair because you're the vice chair now?
No.
You have to go back to the beginning of the alphabet.
Totally random. That's fine, I'm just confirming.
All right.
So that makes Nina.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna follow.
But now you know it. You have a whole month to prepare.
Follow it first.
Well, I think it makes sense. I don't know if you're available for the next one, Chris, but I think it makes sense for you as vice chair to step in and then plug into the.
And then Nina would be the vice chair. Okay, do it that way. Because we said anyway.
Okay, so we'll just finish it. We'll finish at the end of the alphabet. Let me make sure I'm around.
Right,
That means
so chair will be the end of the alphabet.
And if I can't be
Vice
here, it'll
chair
be
will
Nina.
the
It'll be
beginning of the
perfect.
alphabet.
That makes Nina, the vice chair, and then she'll be the chair the after. Perfect.
Can I guess we already know next month. Am I allowed to send, if I make the schedule, to everyone?
Yeah.
Or do I have to send it to you? Or what's the rule?
You can send it to me if you want, just to be comfortable. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Oh, so, okay, that's the 5th of September, the day after Labor Day.
And I think we'll be downstairs because the select board will be in here, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's all. Awesome to know.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, everyone. That's good. Ryan and Adam, watch out. We just signed into it. Our next action item was the Plastic Free July initiative challenge. Just before we sort of, I haven't had much feedback, but I know I want to thank everyone who sent in videos, and I know Stacey did and Jackie did.
Still in here.
You send it in for them. They can still do that.
I gotta edit it.
Give it to Bob. And I know they were really welcome bits of videos and so on, which was really nice, I thought. And I don't know whether people took part or anything. We did ask right at the beginning for anyone to contact us, but I don't know whether Bob had any direct communication from anyone. So I don't know if Kirsten, do you know anything different?
I'm not sure, actually.
No.
Yeah, I can check with Bob.
Well, Jackie, thank you for that poster you made. That was really appreciative. And also, for all the tips and videos that came in for it to be posted on Exeter TV. So maybe, Nina, if you send it to Bob.
Or will this be a rotate, like something that they do every year?
Yeah, but I think Exeter TV, they do a report, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, they do a little
Bi-weekly.
Video
Synopsis,
report.
yeah, right.
So they could just put it in the next one they're doing.
Okay.
But, so we don't want people to stop. It'd be
Just
good.
continue.
It would be nice for people to carry on,
Yeah.
building on their habits if they did
not just July.
So removing plastic, that'd be great. Does anyone want to add anything to that? Nope. Okay. All right. So our subcommittee on the solid waste, it was myself, Chris, and Stacey, and obviously Stacey has left the committee, so it's me and you, Chris. And we haven't had much involvement as yet, but I did email DPW to see if we could get some contact details of waste management companies that they have dealt with, so that we could approach them to sort out a meeting with them, just to talk to them on what is possible when it comes to reducing the amount of solid waste going to landfill and so on. And they haven't got anyone specific, so I think we're just going to, I think we'll just email out to some of the companies.
And just reminding people if at home and elsewhere, when we started this, it was really an examination of what's happening now, both on recycling and solid waste collection, and knowing that there's an ever-growing participation in composting, curbside composting in a lot of places, and a lot of people opting in here and also bringing it to our transfer station, and looking at the next horizon of when the current contracts come up and what a new solid waste future could look like for Exeter, and what's possible, what are the super objectives, what's possible, and to start working on that. And yeah, the summer we didn't find us a lot of progress for a bunch of reasons, but we're back on the case. So
Yeah. So I think what we'll do, we'll try and connect with some of the waste management companies, because there are a few around, and I know some businesses use a totally different company, and again, it would be great to sort of connect with them to see if they do residential, and just gather as much information as we can in terms of what is potentially possible now, because things have moved along so much in the last 5 years, I'd say, when it comes to curbside collection for compost, as well as trying to encourage people to reduce their solid waste. So we'll keep people posted on that, and see where we get. And I know the lease, it's up for renewal. The contract's up for renewal at the end of this year, is it? Or
no, it's
2024.
2024 for a new contract in 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's for us to.
And that's not much time.
No. So it's for us to get as much information as we can before the end of the year, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I did want to share, I just had an email, DES has this program, it's a training program called Navigating State Contracts and Grant Programs for Solid Waste.
Oh.
And it's the New Hampshire Solid Waste Operating Training Program. It's partnering with New Hampshire Department of Administrative Services to bring you a class to demystify state contracts and grant programs. And there's a class on August 10th from 9 to noon. I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I would be happy to share this with you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I was just trying to see how much it was, but, here we go. I don't know.
Is it online, or is it virtual, or in person?
No, I think it's online is limited. Yeah. But I can share this with you, and you can take a look and see if it's something of interest.
That'd be great.
But I saw that and thought, maybe it would give some insight to this effort.
I also think we're pretty sober about the situation, that it's complicated.
Yes.
It's also built on a lot of decisions that were made on over the years on containers and landfills and choices made, and so, but no matter what, we always have to continue to look forward. We know that landfills are filling up and closing and things like that, and there's opportunity, I think, in the examination. So
Yeah. Just gathering that information would be useful. Okay. So that's still on our list of things that we need to do. The other action item was about the environmental film screening. I haven't made any progress on that yet, so obviously PA are on a summer session, so hoping that I can get some word back by the end of August or early September on what we can do on campus or in partnership with them. All right. A couple of other, just quick updates on a couple of things. I know we also in June, when we were talking about Plastic Free July, and also doing some outreach on trying to get people to join our committee and volunteer, of having a table at Farmers Market. I never received a reply at all in terms of making that possible, so unfortunately that didn't happen. So I'm hoping that with Stephanie's tabling, that it can be a dual purpose of getting people to come and say, come and join our committee as well. So maybe, whatever the saying is, but the saying is not appropriate, but killing two birds with one stone, or whatever. But anyway, we're not killing any birds.
Conservation Committee would have an issue with that.
I can follow up with them.
Okay.
Because there were a couple names of groups. I wonder if someone just switched positions or something.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. All right. And the conversation ages ago we had with regards to the cardboard container at the transfer station not having a cover, and that when it got wet, it wasn't being, the town wasn't getting any revenue from that. So there is a cover on there now. And I saw it a couple of weeks ago, and I think the waste management company provided that free of charge. So there is a cover.
Oh, there you go.
Cover
I
on
like
the container. So that's a positive thing to come out of that, which is great. I don't think I have any other business. I'm sure I've missed something out, but at the moment I don't. Does anyone else want to give any input?
No, I'm glad we were able to pull off a meeting this month. I'm excited for the rotating chair. Well, I'm curious to see how that works out. I think it's going to be smashing. So.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where do we stand with the ordinance?
The single-use plastics. So apparently the legal counsel concerns were a bit more complicated than I realized. And there were some follow-up things that I was tasked with doing that I just have not done yet. So,
are there any summaries that you could share?
So, it really comes down to the language in the ordinance. And so Russ was out for a bit, so I was meeting with Melissa and legal, and they seem to be really concerned about, it says town facilities, and I don't have the language in front of me, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it from memory, but how it lists out the different locations where this would apply to, that it could be misconstrued and puts the town in an awkward position should someone push the envelope on it. And so there was talk of me proposing a modification that could go to town meeting this year. There was also when we were discussing it publicly, there was no discussion with the permittees who rent the sidewalk spaces. And so I was tasked with reaching out to them to find out how this might affect their businesses. I don't think it's an issue because at least the list I had initially, though there may be more permittees now, included several coffee organizations that already have a sustainability policy. They provide compostable products, so I don't think that was an issue. Or restaurants like Vino e Vivo, which I suspect is not serving wine in plastic cups, but I don't know. So there was additional outreach that I needed to do with that, and I feel like there was one other item, and I can't remember what it was.
Is there a way that we can be of service to you in that regard?
Yeah, probably. But I'd need to put some thought to how best to do that.
Well, let us know.
I mean, possibly with the outreach to the business owners,
Sure.
Especially the PM business owners, because I'm not necessarily here when they're open, and I was hoping to do more of a face-to-face communication. So that could be one way. So what I'd like to do is get a revised list of permittees to just make sure no additional names were added. Because when we do reach out, I want to get everybody,
Yeah.
And then the other thing we talked about was forming basically an implementation committee that would bring someone from, this was the third one or fourth one, I don't know what number I'm up to, that brought representation from sustainability, from the Parks and Rec, myself, and I think the select board, to talk about an implementation plan for this, so that it's a group initiative, I guess.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a great idea.
So, but that's where it was left. I haven't done anything since that.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely we're at your service for anything you need to have help, especially face-to-face contact and explaining all this and stuff like that. Love to do the outreach.
Great.
That's great.
That's helpful. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up, Jackie. And then I did have one item to just mention. So we're entering budget season. Sustainability does have a line item. In last year, we've shared some of the expenses with Energy Committee. So, for example, Clean Energy New Hampshire, we are a member of them, so we pay dues through that budget. And then the other one is the Local Energy Solutions Annual Conference, which is at the end of the year. But beyond that, there's no expenditures that I'm aware of that have been talked about. I mean, maybe a mailing or something like that, but it's really helpful to go into budget season with at least some plan for expending all of those monies. Otherwise, there's risk of those dollars getting cut. And so
I think we'd like to work with you to come up with, now that, we're in the negotiations and fixing phase of the ordinance, I think there's a PR effort and some communication effort that needs to happen once the language is agreed upon, if we can get to that.
Yeah.
But also even before then, just to continue to explain what it is. Maybe we can, via email, sort out a couple of items to put against expense for that.
that would be great.
Because it came to my attention in our BRC meeting, which I also sit on this past week, that even within the town ranks and the Chamber of Commerce, some other people, just misunderstandings of what it is and how it's implemented or would be implemented and what that means for businesses and stuff. So there's certainly, like a lot of other things, like, community power, you can't communicate enough. So
Right.
So let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, anyone? No. All right, it's 7:51. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.